#replay later on when you watch. And welcome. I want to introduce my friend Linda. She does amazing personality quizzes and is a personality expert. And Linda, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Hey everyone. Thank you so much for having me here, Brenna. I am Linda Sadu. I'm a quiz writing expert, basically on personalities, like you just said. I find that personality quizzes are the most well-received quiz to take for a quiz taker, but they're also the most interesting and fun for a business owner too, because there's a lot of strategy that goes behind it. But before I started in quiz writing, I used to work in the pharmaceutical sales industry, and that's where I was first introduced to the personality work. And I recently am DISC certified, so of making it official. So I am a certified personality expert now. And when I'm not writing quizzes and helping clients grow their email list, you can find me in Seattle, pretty much taking Dakota, my big golden retriever, who we thought would only be 50 pounds, who's now 90 pounds, on a hike and playing with her and spending time with my son, Liam, who's 8 years old.
Oh, I know we had a golden retriever when I was a kid, and she was over 100 pounds. She was huge and she was crazy. There's this story about her. Our neighbors across the street from us would leave their front door open all the time. I don't know why. Like, I can't even imagine having my front door open.
Yeah.
And like, there's a story where she got out from our house, ran across the street, ran through the neighbor's house, ran through, I don't know if she broke the screen door or if their screen door was open, and went and jumped in their pool. Like,
oh
she
my
flew. Yeah. Can you imagine Dakota doing something like that? It always
I could imagine Dakota doing something like that. I actually found one of Liam's socks in the toilet this morning, and I'm like, oh, how did that get there? You know?
That is so funny. No, golden retrievers, once they're like 2 or 3, they become like the best dogs. But and they are good dogs. They're so sweet, but they just have so much energy.
As a puppy, they're crazy puppies.
Now, I got the opportunity to help you with launching in for your last launch of the Quiz Lab. But before then, can you kind of tell me, like, I know you had launched other things. Like, tell me about like your experience with launching before you and I worked together. Like, I know you had launched different freebies, a different course at one time. So kind of tell me how it went.
Well, I had a previous partnership, and you know about that too, but I felt like we were always in a rush to get slap something up and sell it. You know what I mean? There wasn't a ton of intention and behind it. It was like, and I think it kind of, we talk about personalities. Like, I definitely think that was my partner's personality. It was like, done. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm a little bit more into nurturing, and it always felt really rushed. And then, when you slap something up, there's with not a lot of intention behind it, and you do all the things that you're supposed to get it done with, right? Then I feel like your sales sort of sacrifice, it kind of reflects it, right? Because I don't know. I just felt like, I wanted to slow down a little bit and just take my time. But the other side of it is when that partnership ended, I really did want to get my new Quiz Lab out into the world. But what I realized was it's going to take me longer to do all the things. So I really felt like if I was going to do this time, I really needed to hire some help. And, that's what I focused on. I'm going to focus on my strengths, and whatever I need help with, I'm going to hire it out, because then I could get it up, but in the right way. Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what kind of drew you in, you think? Because it was kind of like the same time was right around when I was like, okay, I'm really for sure like doing this pre-launch thing and going to be selling it as a service. Like, what kind of drew you in around the concept?
Well, I think you and I was talking a lot about my business. You were talking a lot about your business, where you were headed and everything. And it just sort of like perfectly aligned and connected, in my opinion, because I know I was thinking, okay, what worked when I was in the pharmaceutical industry? Because I was really successful in the pharmaceutical industry, and I knew I would be successful here. It's just like, how do you do what worked in the pharmaceutical industry, in my opinion, and like have it work online. So there was a couple things in my head that was going on. One was leaning into my strengths. Two was building relationships the proper way. Another thing was I realized when I would talk to doctors, I would show them case studies. I would show them pictures before and after, right? So I would be like, here's a picture of this teenage boy who is covered in acne. And, 12 weeks later, he used my product, and you can see from the baseline to the end of treatment how much he's gotten better. Like his face looks great. He still has some acne on his chest and back, whatever. But I would show them the difference of the product. And I realized, I said, I really need to start doing that in my business, case studies, testimonials. And then when I was really thinking about the personality aspect of it, and the doctors I would talk to, there were certain doctors that would just, they weren't going to promote my product or use my product. I had to like sort of guide them in that way. And these are the dominant doctors I'm talking about. There was no way I was going to tell them what to do. Right. So I would be like, where would you use this? And I would spark conversation. They would tell me. And then when I would leave, I'd be like, hey, do you think you could use it on the next teenage boy, since you said that that's where it would make sense? Right. And it would just be so easy as I'd walk out the door. Right. And then there was other doctors who were more steady and conscientious. And those were the doctors that I wouldn't really ever like say anything until like later, until the relationship was built. So what that meant is I wanted to do lunches with them. I wanted to build my know, like, and trust factor. I would invite those doctors as well to speaker programs where I'd have the dominant doctors that were fast action takers talk about how they were having success with my products. So I was really thinking like, okay, how can I translate this and do the same things with my online business? And that's really where you came in, where I started to focus more on the slower paced, more thoughtful business owners that aren't going to be fast action takers, right? And, now that I'm certified in DISC, it does appear that it's 25% across the board. So we are, our personality, we embody all four types. However, you kind of fall into one quadrant over the other, and it's 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. So what that means is there's going to be at least 50% of your audience that really needs like a longer runway. They want the time to make a decision. They don't want to feel forced.
Yeah. And I think I feel super blessed. And it's why, like, even going into this pre-launch, like I didn't think through all of these steps, right? I just knew that it was important, something that was missing. And the more I do it, the more I help people, the more I learn about DISC, the more I learn about, I've been studying some other stuff, and it just perfectly aligns with doing a pre-launch. There's so many people that need to have space, that are slower or more thoughtful, as you say, with their decision making, and that the pre-launch really allows time, because as I've talked about before, when you're in a launch, it's a time for people to make a yes or no decision. They're on, typically it's on a timed thing. They have to go in, and then for some of us, meaning me, because I'm definitely a slower decision maker, like we need time for processing and for thinking, and need time to kind of sift through information, like you said, case studies and before and afters, what things look like. And when you have a pre-launch, like that is what we're able to do. Can you talk a little bit about like what that looked like in your launch for you as we presented? Like what was the experience with the pre-launch, and how did we use some of that kind of content that we just talked about for you to help people with their decision making?
Well, real quick, I do want to mention, when we talk about people who are more thoughtful about their decision making, I think of a friend of mine here in Seattle. And I thought it was funny that she was ordering her son a bounce house, and she literally read every single testimonial on Amazon. I'm like, it's a bounce house. Like, but it made me, I think about her when I think about my clients who are her personality, which is the steady type personality. She's very nurturing. She's very loving, but she's going to read every single review because she really wants to make the right decision, especially if it's for her son, who's like 3 years old at the time, right? Like she was really caring and thoughtful about that decision, even with the bounce house. So to go back and answer your question, that matters in your pre-launch. So you got to think about, people want reviews. People want to see the testimonials. They want to see how you helped other people. And that really builds credibility. And the cool thing about sharing or shining the light on somebody else's, success and how you had a hand in there helping them do that, it's taking the light off of you and just showing what you can do to help them, right? So you're building your credibility in a well-received way, in my opinion. But what we would do is I wanted to have people in my Facebook group. So I love my Facebook group, the Quiz Creators. That's really my main social media platform that I've chosen besides email marketing. And what we would do is we use those together. And I would have case studies like Helena Bowen, who's the TEDx speaking coach. I would have her come in and talk to my community, just like we're doing right now, right? And we talk about like what worked for her with her quiz and her launch, and what did we do when we found out that 50% of her audience was actually that heart-centered, steady personality. And we talked about like the things she did in her launch that amplified and made it more successful. So I was shining a light on her, let her talk about her success, and then just like how I had a hand in, making it even better, making it better compared to just some of the things that I brought to her launch, like that made it better, which was adding more testimonials to the sales pages. It was also, having a back end part where she did her webinar, but then she offered hot seats to people after the webinar. And so that gave her one-on-one time, and then expanding it from a 30-minute to an hour. So you could really spend quality time with people, and it really worked. And so again, it was just based on, taking care of someone and making sure that when they go to purchase from you, they're not going to regret it. So we did, a lot of Facebook Lives. We did two, I think there were Tuesdays and Thursdays for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then I continued to showcase testimonials throughout my pre-launch as well as during my actual launch.
Yeah, no, and I think you had so many great case studies going in that it was amazing to spotlight them. I think like in email marketing, one of my original mentors, Chris, he always talked about, one thing when it was like showing, not telling, right?
Yeah.
And it's true in all of our marketing, the more that we can show people, like our friend Marisa Corcoran always talks about like creating a movie in their mind. But the more that we can show people, whether it's through our words, our case studies, what the actual results are going to look like, how they can apply it to their life, it makes a huge difference in all of our results, right? Not just our pre-launch, but even if, emails, captions, everything else. So,
well, I mean, people just don't trust these days. There's been so much out there where, people bought something and they've been burnt. And I think that's a huge component of this, right? Like people, when I read certain posts or whatever, it's like, yeah, but prove it to me. Like, how did you help? Like, why would I give you my money? You know what I mean? It's always about your customer. And if you can always, put them first, then that you should never go wrong. And it's really, the magic is in showcasing other people's stories, I think, of how you've helped them have success.
Yeah, I did a podcast interview the other day, and something I've noticed, even, with people who have had super great results, they're always like, I don't want to seem braggy. Like they're afraid to like shout out what they've been doing and how they've been doing it. And I'm like, no, like this is like the ultimate like backup of what you're saying. Like if you're telling people you can do something and you can't back it up, then there's a problem, right? And so I think a lot of times I've heard it. I'm surprised how much I've heard it over the last couple of months where people, I call it the humble brag, right? Like where you got to shout yourself out, and where people are really reluctant to. And I think like what you said, it's not like a nice to do, it's a must have.
Oh yeah.
And I think too, you can do it in a way that isn't all like me, right? We're actually showing what is, by using our case studies, we're showing what's possible for our potential clients. And I think that is super, super helpful. And like you said, brings up this level of credibility that you just can't do otherwise. So,
well, and then it also brings up confidence. Like if you're confident in your work and you're confident in yourself, why wouldn't you share what you're doing to help people? You know what I mean? But on the receiving end, from a consumer standpoint, like that's what they want. That's what's going to sell them, is if you're confident, you're like, look, I'm the person for it, they're going to buy from you.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with you. Like, even I was thinking about the testimonials, like even when I go to buy like a new like sweater from Gap, I'm so the person who's reading like all 40 testimonials or reviews before I buy. So I love that. So tell me about that, like once about the experience that you had that with us doing your pre-launch.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel? You know, what was the experience of us working together during that time?
Okay, so I love you, Brenna. You know this. Like, I send you sweet Voxer messages all the time, like how grateful I am for you. What I realized in my entrepreneur journey is I have no problem speaking. I have no problem, helping people create quizzes. Like, I love all that. But what really holds me up is the writing. I feel like I want to be so intentional with everything I do. But if it goes down to like sit down and writing and everything, I just feel like that's where the biggest imposter syndrome comes in for me. And I've really identified that, like, look, this is a serious issue. If I could just get someone to help me write this stuff or give me a guided plan or anything, then I'm off and running and I can continue to go fast. And I love to go fast. I can't stand when people like want to slow me down. I can't stand when I slow my own self down. And that's the beauty of working with you, is because I hired you and you basically put together like a plan for me. So you even went as far as to pretty much write some of the emails for me based on conversations we had. You sit down with me and you record the conversation, you ask me questions, and you kind of like started off, so I would go into the actual emails and I would have a game plan, and they would still take me some time to like put my own stuff in, sprinkle my own personality into it, and then, put them over and schedule them. But that was the part I needed help with most. And that felt very freeing. And I know you and I talked, I actually went on a vacation like the weekend before we went to the San Juan Islands. And I was like, I knew when we booked it, I'm like, what am I thinking? Like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off, the weekend before my actual challenge, but I went there, it was fine. And it was really nice to have your support so I could have more balance in my life and vacation. The other thing I did that was crazy during my launch was I scheduled a massage. I think I didn't realize that it was like during my launch when I scheduled it. And I was like, oh my gosh, again, what I should not be over at this place getting a massage. But I felt really good because, again, I had hired you to do my launch emails as well, to help me with that. So when I would come back to writing my emails, there was a plan in place. You kind of like initiated it, and then it got the sparks flying or the juices flowing. And I was able to go in and enhance anything that you did for me, in my opinion. So I was really grateful, because by far, I think that's the biggest part that holds me up, is just having, as long as there's a plan in place, like I'm good to go. And that's what you really helped with.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked, so to kind of give everyone an idea, because this is something we're going to be doing inside the program too, where I won't be doing it for people, obviously, but I will be showing them how to put together this plan. Can you tell everyone like kind of what this plan looked like? Because we planned about 6 weeks before your actual launch, like what it looked like, so people can get an idea.
I don't think people understand how many emails need to go out. Like, we recently did, you helped me with the Impacting Millions launch, affiliate launch that I did. I want to do all these things. And unfortunately, it's like, I know how much time it takes. So I found it very helpful to hire out certain things, especially when it's going to take me, I think, too much time. And so again, the writing was an issue. So I hired you again to help me with Impacting Millions launch. And so again, you gave me this plan and I would go in there. And so it really, if you look at the funnel, I think there was like 18 emails that we decided for that most recent experience together. So you've got to start planting the seed. You've got like 2 emails to plant the seed. And then you've got, 5 emails that direct them to go to the challenge. And then you start to talk about the webinar, and there was like 2 emails there. And then you have the actual full-blown launch and all the strategy and the questions and concerns. I mean, by the end of it, there's like 18 emails, right? And it's a lot of work. And so if an email takes you an hour or 2, you're looking at like 20 to 40 hours of work right there. And it's just a lot of work, especially if you get hung up in that space like I do, where it's like, I just want a plan in place. If I just had like somebody like tip me off and be like, this is what this email is supposed to be about, then I can like, the block is gone. You know what I mean? Then it's like, it's off writing, right? And there were certain emails that I wrote myself, that I was like, well, I really think this is where I should talk about this. And so there were some emails that I completely wrote by myself, but it was still really nice to like have a plan in place. Like when I would go to sit down, be like, okay, I have to write this email tomorrow. And to have that outline was incredible, because most of the time it would only be about 30 minutes to an hour to sprinkle my own personality, upload it to Kajabi, and schedule it,
Yeah. And so what we did, so everyone knows, is first we come up with a calendar of what we need to get out there. And then we kind of go in and start planting in, okay, this is what we need to talk about, and figuring out how we can repurpose and use this, for social, how we can use this for emails, how we tell people about the lives. And like you said, there is a lot that goes, I said this on a podcast interview a little while ago. It's like, it's not like I always think no matter what you're launching, it's always going to be time consuming, right? You're selling something. It's going to take a minute. And I don't care if you go to evergreen, like there's a whole huge process about even evergreen sales. There's always time. But when you know exactly, like when you have a plan, when you know what you're going to talk about, when you have an outline, when you're able to go in and feel really secure, and that's where your like confidence comes too, right? Because if you are confident, like, okay, I know I need to get this messaging across, now it all of a sudden makes more sense for you to go out. It's not like you're just spinning your wheels to write emails. You're going in with a really strategic plan to help people move from point A to point B. And I think that's what one of the things I love, and also frustrates me sometimes in my own brain when I'm helping clients, is like, okay, we got to move these people along. What is this path really going to look like? And how can we do this in a seamless way that's not super salesy or pushy, but in a way where we're kind of like, it sounds cheesy in my mind to say, but we're like, you're grabbing someone's hand and being like, okay, this is the path I'm on, and this is what I can help you with. Is this really going to be what you need to move the needle in your business? And if so, I want to be the one to help you.
Well, the thing is we're all very, really intentional about the work we're trying to put out and help people with. And I know for me, if I'm going to promote anything, you better believe that I'm going to be there to like support the people that come in. So I feel very confident about my offer for the quiz lab when we work together. And I felt really confident about the Impacting Millions affiliate launch too. Like, I know that once people have a quiz, the next thing they need to do is promote that quiz. And that's where I see a lot of people fall flat with their business, is they hire the quiz and they're like, oh, I put all my eggs in one basket. And then that's it. Here's your quiz. And they're like, well, it didn't work. And you go to find out, okay, well, it only got in front of like 60 people, right? Like, well, it needs to get in front of like a lot more people. And so when I was working with the affiliate launch, I really believed in that program. And so when I did it right, and I hired you to help me with a plan and have all of the emails ready to go, and you know what I mean? Like your whole pre-launch strategy, at the end of the day, when I thought about it, I said, I believe in this offer. And for the people who decided not to join, it wasn't on me. I did everything in my power to give them the time, to let them know, you know what I mean? And I know there's a lot going on. People have bought a ton of courses for whatever reason, but I felt good about that affiliate launch. And I felt good about my quiz lab launch. And I was just like, at the end of the day, I did everything I could, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it was their choice not to do it. And I'm fine with that. Like, I'm totally fine with that. And I do know, going back to personalities, some people won't buy from you for 3 years. It's just that continued no like and trust factor. And I will tell you, I know that, this was Selena's last year to do the actual live coaching, which is a big deal because I think that is where the best of the pro, like I was like, if she's going to take that away, that's really sad. You know what I mean? Because that was where I felt like was worth the money, was to have her and Linnea live for an entire year with you. And since that's gone, it's like essentially going to be something different next year. But there's a somebody who's been promoting that, you know, Laura Belgrave, you and I's mentor, for a long time, and she had a wonderful launch. And I was talking to her yesterday, and she said it's because of how many times I've launched it. Those people who were sitting in the background, like thinking, okay, maybe next year, maybe next year. Well, finally, the next year was gone. This is it. And so she had a lot of people come off the fence, but she really mentioned, she said, I think it's because of the over and over and over promoting it year after year. To see what I'm saying? Like, and so for me, I was like, gosh, I feel so bad that this person didn't take advantage or this person, but I did my best. But it goes back to like, okay, well, she had an awesome affiliate launch, and it really kind of just held true. Those people have been watching her talk about her bonuses and talk about this amazing program, right? And they finally came off the fence.
Yeah, I do think it's time, because even with my own promotion for the program that I'm doing, I've noticed like people are already like, when are you going to launch this again? Like, this might not be the right time for me, but you know, maybe are you going to do it again in the fall? I just had a discussion with someone yesterday where we talked about that, and I think it's super true. Like, you have some of those people that need the longer time and end up buying, and then you have the people who you're actually building your pipeline for longer.
Yes,
So
100%.
so to go back to, I know that with your launch, like even 6 weeks or 5 weeks ahead of time, we already started seeing, I know 1 week I
Oh
think it
yeah.
was like you had like 7 inquiries, like 5 weeks ahead of your actual open door date. And so I remember it being like, okay, this is working. You know, can you tell me a little bit about how that felt too?
Yeah. Well, you never know if something's going to work or not, right? Like, I feel like if you can go into something and just be like, okay, this is an experiment, we'll see how it goes. Like, that's how I really went into my last launch in the fall, was I have no expectations. I'm just going to do what I think feels right, and we'll see what happens, you know? And so I think you and I were really surprised that the first time, one of the first couple of times I started to say, okay, book a call if you're interested. People were reaching out, they were booking calls, and I was taking these calls before I even opened the doors. And again, it's just people they need that one-on-one time with you, and they want to know if this is right, because the quiz lab was a decent amount of money. It wasn't like, and again, like I chose to do that because my clients told me that they would prefer to pay more of a quality type program, and they wanted certain things from me. And so I listened to them, and I charged probably 3 times the amount I was thinking of doing it, because I was originally thinking it was more of like a do it yourself, but that's not what people wanted. So anyway, you just listen to your audience. And again, if you have a program, I say anything over $1,000, you should allow some one-on-one time for people to hop on a call with you, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and just really let them ask some questions and concerns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Even
I did
yesterday-
have,
oh,
I
go
had
ahead.
2 people buy on the first day that booked call. Actually, 3 people. There was 5 people that bought kind of quicker than I felt like everybody waited to the last minute. Like the last day I had a lot of sales, but the first day or 2 I had about 5 people buy, and there was 3 of them out of that 5 that had booked a call with me.
And you get so much great information too if you are talking. And that's the whole point of the pre-launch too, is like, okay, how can we open up discussions? How can we create conversations as well? So not just necessarily throwing out content, how can we open it in a way that we were having discussions, and it can help to guide you on messaging that needs to be changed or questions that need to be answered. I know even yesterday, the person who asked me about the pre-launch program was like, is this good for one-on-one service providers? I'm like, oh, okay, I haven't talked about this enough, because obviously people are asking me questions. So not only does it warm your audience, it actually helps inform everything else, you're messaging what needs to happen as your launch goes on. So, and I know
You know,
that definitely happened with you as well.
well, and I think the other thing that happened that I should touch on too is when I hosted these calls, not everybody was a good fit for the quiz lab. I actually booked 4 done for you quizzes. I gave them the option. I said, you can do the quiz lab if you want, but if you want me to do it for you, I'm available in December, or I'm available in January. And I had 4 people book done for you quizzes from those calls too.
Right.
And I gave them that option because I didn't think that they were actually a good fit. So I knew that and I identified it, and I was like, well, here's 2 options for you, right?
Right. So let's talk a little bit about like your results thing, because I think this goes perfectly into like what ended up happening, you know, with the pre-launch, with your launch. Because I think the cool thing with you too is just like you said, like it created this buzz, but not only were you getting people into the quiz lab, you actually were booking also done for you jobs for after everything, and you
Yeah.
were booked out for months and months.
Yes. So I, honest to God, have never emailed my clients until recently that I had like an opening for a quiz, a done for you quiz. And it's crazy, like knock on wood. But what happened was, when you go into your launches, there is a ton of buzz. And it's really important to open up that time to see if people are a good fit, right? And so you can give them options. A lot of people like options. And you can say, well, I've got this done for you option. I've got a do it with each other option. And then I've got a do it yourself option, right? And I sold all 3 of those options to people. I also turned people away. There was people who were like, I don't have enough money right now, but maybe if I can get this job or that job real quick, then maybe I'll put it on my credit card. I immediately said no. I said, nothing's worth that stress. And I don't want that stress on me either.
Right.
As a business owner, right? I said, and I gave them a plan. I said, this is what you need to do to start earning an income. And then when you're ready and you feel good and you feel confident, we can do a quiz. There was other people that had like medical things going on, and I advised them too, there's always next year, right? So I just think if you're super intentional about the right offers for the right clients, the right things are going to happen. And after the launch was over, I had only wanted 20 people in the quiz lab because the amount of support I was giving them, I felt like, oh gosh, like 20, I would love to have 25, but I think 20 is my max. So I kind of cut it off at 20. And when I started seeing people buy that last day, I was really excited, but I was also like, oh my gosh, like turn the faucet off. Am I going to be able to serve everyone? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, because I knew I was booking like done for you quizzes and strategy calls and everything else, but it ended up being about $70,000 for the entire launch. But it is so important to really capitalize in that moment during the buzz, and also connect and make sure that offer's right. And if there's other options that seem to fit better, then allow yourself to offer those out too. Because honestly, I didn't think I would book out till March and October, but I did. And it was the right thing for those clients. And I gave that option. I let them choose and they were fine with it,
Yeah. No, so I love that. And we were so excited. And you got amazing students too. And
I
I think that
did.
was something I know Emily Reagan, our friend that I talked to the other day, that's something that she really pointed out with her pre-launch. It wasn't even, she had amazing results, but she had amazing results. And she also called in
The right
like
people.
really great people. And I feel like it was exactly the same with you. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
Yeah.
I adored everybody in that. Like at the last couple calls, I'm like, do you guys need more help? Like, is there any reason why I could stay here longer? But eventually it ended and I had to let it go. But I was really pleased. And I just couldn't believe the amazing people that decided to opt into it. It was just very incredible. Like, that's the beauty. Like, it wasn't people that just wanted like a fun quiz. I mean, these were quizzes that were going deep to really help people. And it's just incredible. Like, I was so pleased with that. Yeah.
So do you think in the future, will you do another pre-launch based on our experience together?
100%. I already have it scheduled. You know this. I'm like, Brenna, I need to get on your books like before you start booking out, because you are seriously like a godsend. And I love you, and I appreciate everything you've done to support me. And in my opinion, I think it's really important to invest in help and hire people to help your business so you can lead a balanced life. You know what I mean? Like if you look at my life, um, I work a lot, but I don't. Like, I feel like I'm super flexible. I'm really guarded and have boundaries. And with boundaries comes the time where you just have to help ask other people to help out and do certain things for your business. And that allows me to go on the boat with Liam in the summer. We take vacations. We've got already a few vacations booked for summer. I mean, last year I took the entire summer off. Yes, I did some done for you quizzes at night, and that's just therapy for me. I love creating quizzes, but I only took one in July and one in August. And I was like, that's all I really want, so I can live this intentional life. But yes, I would hire you in a heartbeat. I would definitely, I refer so many people to you already, clients that I've done quizzes for. I'm like, you have to hire Brenna. Like, you're amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I know. And I'm really excited too. And that's one of the things I love because I am getting so booked out, right? Months, I think after, I don't know how far at this point, just with my retainer clients and then the other like done for you work that I am doing, that to have this opportunity to help people create this pre-launch in this program and show them my framework and my map, and they can implement it and be able to, whether at some point they hire someone like me or anyone else to help them, or they have an implementable step-by-step framework that they can repeat again and again, because
Yeah.
I think that's the really cool thing. And you and I already talked about it, even for when we work together for your next launch, is like, okay, this is going to be a little bit more streamlined, right? Because we already have like the foundational blocks for your next launch based on what we did before. Now we can just go review, analyze, see what worked, see what didn't, and see what needs to be tweaked and keep moving along.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I'm really excited. And, last launch, I didn't have testimonials for like Quiz Lab since it was my first one. So I'm really excited to highlight some new people that were actually in the Quiz Lab and get their stories and their, how successful they had, with their quizzes and whatnot, and showcase some other individuals who are doing some incredible things.
oh, yeah, I'm glad you said that. It's already got me thinking. So anyway, well, thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. Can you tell everyone where to find you if they want to hire you for a Done For You quiz and or the Quiz Lab? And I know you have a really great freebie, so tell us all about it.
Yeah. The best place to find me is where I show up the most is the Quiz Creators Facebook group. We can drop the link if you want. And by the way, there's some really exciting things that are about ready to happen in there. Like, I haven't really told anyone, but in May, it's going to be lit up with a ton of support. So go check that out. And then probably the best way, if you're really interested in creating a quiz, would be the Nail Your Quiz Idea. It's just a simple PDF. That's usually a great place to start if you're just thinking about it, because the number one thing people have when they create a quiz is they don't know what their title should be or what kind of, you know what I mean? So it's Nail Your Quiz Idea. And so that's the best place to start. And then once you aren't held up by like what it should be, you can move forward from there. So I'll give you that link as well.
Yeah, we'll drop both of the links in here after. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone who's watching. And if anyone has questions for me about, I opened up my Voxer, I'll throw that in there as well. If you have questions about the pre-launch
Seriously,
program.
I'm just going to tell you, you guys need to take Brenna up on this. Like, I told her she should charge more. I was like, that's all like, can I do it? Like, I want to do it too. Like, because eventually I figure it out. Right. Like, I just love the amount of support, but you go above and beyond with everything you do. And I think this is a serious investment for entrepreneurs. And so I'm just going to say, get it while you can at this price. I guarantee it's probably not going to be this price.
Yeah, it's definitely at a beta price. And I wanted to do that too. Like, I want to make sure, obviously I've done it with one client. So I was like, okay, I really want to go in and feel really great about this offer and about the price and the support. And especially since I'm going to be having hot seats and looking at people's copy, it's like, this is people pay me, thankfully, thankfully, like I'm very blessed to get paid a very nice sum of money to have people go in and help them. And so I'm excited at the opportunity to have a group to like do this together and build a
Yeah.
lot of buzz around their launches. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a great investment. I think there's only a handful of seats left, and I definitely encourage people to jump on it because again, once the opportunity is gone, it's gone. Like it'll be double, I don't know, the price later, and you're just gonna you're just gonna give more value like you always do, and so it's amazing. So get on it.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate you so much. So, and thank you for everyone who watched or is watching later. So have
Yes.
a great day.
Take care.
Bye.